Hey peeps, yo, oh my god, wow, the first butcher of this intro, wow, yo, Hachigatsu Nanoka desu. So welcome once again to the Nanoka Special. This is my two-time annual special, usually on significant days of the channel. So we did one in February for my half birthday, and the channel's birthday. So yeah, the concept of the channel started on February 7th, and this is the channel's actual 10th anniversary. I mean, I made it in 2012, but I didn't start streaming until like 2 years later. So technically, in terms of streaming, more consistent stuff, it's a decade. Don't remember how long it's been with Twitch, but hey. But yeah, today it is my birthday. So, if you've probably seen on my YouTube community post, I announced that, well, don't worry, I am still doing the special as per usual. So, here I am doing the special. However, this year it is going to be a little bit different, because, well, one, didn't really think of much, for this year, and the encoder's overloaded. 1 second. But then the other thing is that, well, we have got a strike on our hands. I don't know if anybody has watched the last few videos I've done. I just realized I forgot to post them on the YouTube channel, but I will pretty soon. So, a few weeks ago, SAG-AFTRA has recently announced that they are doing protests for video game actors, because right now they are not very well compensated, due to contracts. They have been considering striking for the last year and a half, ever since they considered the screen acting strike. Now, as of July, they've officially started the video game voice acting strike. I am hoping that this will be resolved in a very timely fashion. Considering, unfortunately, it's video games, there is a huge amount of doubt that I'm carrying about how soon it'll be resolved. But I'm hoping it happens sooner rather than later. So if you want to support the strike, there is a media pack at SAG-AFTRA, SAG-AFTRA.com. Sorry, SAG-AFTRA.org. Wow, I am forgetting my links, clearly. But yeah, if you go under SAG-AFTRA.org, you can see what you as fans can do, what we as streamers can do. There are various things you can do. And of course, if you are very unsure as to how you can support the strike, feel free to contact your local office, because they will tell you so much. I called my local office in Philly, and they called me back and told me all this valuable information that us influencers can do. And if you're not sure still what you can do, just type in, just send them shoot them an email, influencer@sagaftra.org. SAG-AFTRA.org. Sorry, I should be more specific here. So, as a result, it will affect some of my streams. So, good news is the games I'm currently streaming are not struck. They are independently made. There is the Sega game with Sonic Mania Plus, but it is not voice acted, so it will not be under the umbrella of the strike. However, as you see, unfortunately, with the secondary games that I really wanted to go next after I complete most of these games, they are, with the exception of one, unfortunately, they are all under struck companies. So, they did say that I could stream anything. Whoops. Wrong part. SAG-AFTRA did say that we as streamers can stream anything, and we would not get canceled from potential SAG-AFTRA membership in the future. However, out of moral principle, and also as for sake of my own comfort, I will avoid playing from any struck companies until the strike is over, which I don't know how long it's going to take, but for the sake of my own comfort and also for the sake of respecting principles, I will not be streaming from any struck company. So unfortunately, that does take out a good chunk of my lineup, as you can see here. It takes out Kingdom Hearts 2, which I really wanted to play, but I'm going to take it out because of Disney. Disney's voice acting division is being struck right now, and also SAG also said that localization will also affect the strike. And because it is from a Japanese company, Square Enix, that will affect it. Sonic Mania is exempt because it does not have any voices in it. Firmament is not struck because it's from Cyan Games, so that one I could still play. Alan Wake 1 and 2, however, they are from a struck company, Epic Games. And like what makes it more complicated is some of the games that I have are also via the Epic Games store. So don't know how I'm gonna work around that, but actually I kind of know how to work around that. I'll just go with the nostalgic games, like the classic ones far back that are considered abandonware for now until once again the strike is over. And maybe I could also sprinkle in some of the independent games that deserve our attention. So, you have any recs? I've been seeing some recs on Discord, so thank you so much for putting them in there. So please feel free to leave more. I might not be able to get to all of them, but I will find my ways to do them. So yeah, I know I talk a lot about the strike on my birthday, but the one thing I really want to do on my 32nd year of life is to find more ways to give back to the community, especially the gaming community and some of the spiritual communities that I interact with. So that has been quite a lot on my mind. So this is a small thing that I can do. It's the least I can do, and I am a very small channel, but even a small channel such as this can make a big difference. So this is my start, and I hope this 32nd year that I will be able to do more interesting content for you. I have also been actually filming something as well, so just a little preview of what's to come for my second channel. I've been talking about it for years, but I'm finally buckling down and doing it. I know, so many years later, but better than never, right? So, all that stuff to look forward to. Get excited. But yeah. So, since we're not really doing much in the gaming front, what are we doing today? So, today, we got a special guest. They have been a friend for a good while, but this is their debut on my channel as a collaborator. So say hello to Yo. Yo has been a regular viewer, so thank you for that. But they also decided to volunteer for this year's reading. So without further ado, let's go ahead and have some fun, shall we? So hello. Oh, yeah. I mean, you can probably see I'm a little bit out of practice. I'm still finding my streaming sea legs right here.
Well, we're getting there.
We're getting there. And by the way, music is by Lo-Fi Geek. I will update the music in the description if anybody is curious about listening. But yeah, one thing, like, if you've seen my TikToks and some of my old videos, which I'm hoping to get back more into full swing, possibly move to my second channel, Theological Otaku, I am very much into tarot readings. And this is Yo's original spread right here. So if you want to pull some of your own, you are welcome to do so. It's right on the screen right here. So yeah, like, feel free to give it a shot. But I will warn you, it's a pretty thorough one. But I always request it every year, and I always seem to come away with something new every time. So, all right, you ready for this?
I have a very small deck, and for once, maybe it'll actually fit my desk. But we'll see how I can shuffle this. And be forewarned, people, I will be using reverse cards.
All right.
Not everyone are comfortable with using reverse cards, but I am incredibly comfortable with using the reverse cards because I feel like I'm muting part of the deck if I'm not allowing the reverse cards to be in.
I see that. Yeah, I'm one of those who don't use reverse meanings for my pulls. But if I do have like the natural urge to read the reverse meaning, then I will do that. So I kind of go more
And like I said,
instinctual.
mm-hmm. And like I said, I just generally tend to do including the reverse cards unless people specifically ask for it, because I just like being able to use the full extent of the deck.
Yeah.
Okay, time to do some shuffling with these tiny cards. Tiny cards.
And what deck are you using today?
It's called the Tarot of Pagan Cats.
Ooh. Oh. Wait, what? Did...
That does not count as a jumper. I'm just scrambling trying to get them out.
So for those who are new to the card pulling lingo, jumpers are, in essence, cards that spontaneously jump out of the deck. So if you're trying to like shuffle and pull something, and then something jumps out of yeah, I can talk. It's something. Yes. It's something jumps out of the deck. The probability is pretty good that it's something that, well, the universe, great spirit, your mind, whatever you ascribe to the cards, wants you to pay attention to.
Well, let's see. I am still trying to get used to shuffling these little bitches. Sorry for the language. I am crude AF. Which is kind of funny. But they are so tiny. They slip out of my hands so easily. And I am used to being able to do a riffle shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
So they are not riffling as they should. I'm used to having more area to work with.
Yeah, and I know
Avatar keeps breaking its neck.
And I know riffle shuffling is especially infamous in the tarot community, but there is a way that you can riffle shuffle without damaging the cards.
Yeah, and I have mastered, I have learned that technique because a friend of mine used to work as a croupier for a blackjack table, and she taught me how because they have to deal with so many cards and decks at the same time, she taught me how to care for the cards and riffle shuffle safely.
Yeah, because if anybody knows how to preserve cards pretty well, especially anybody who does a lot of card games, they would know.
Sure, it doesn't work if your cards are sleeved. I've tried. It just rips the sleeves.
Yeah, they're not durable like that. Like, sleeves are meant more for if you are keeping those cards for posterity and nothing else, or maybe if you want to sell them and make millions of dollars, Pokemon, then
no, you're not. They're not just for that. They are actually playable and shuffleable. It's just not for the riffle shuffle.
That's fair.
It works with the cutting the deck technique, and generally the throwing it in, cutting the deck both horizontally and vertically, but not the riffle shuffle because the sleeves adds too much material.
Yeah, I think I just did a big tell on, like, showing that I'm not really well versed in terms of my card sleeves.
The reason I know is because a few years ago I learned how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! and I was given a set. I was given some sleeves. I was given cards with sleeves, and I learned how to I learned how to shuffle with them.
Yeah, because I mean, I actually do have some Yu-Gi-Oh cards with sleeves, but like they're like the kind of hard one, like the hard plastic ones, rather than like the more flexible ones you often see with like collector's binders.
Mm-hmm. I think this one is a good shuffle.
All right,
So time to start cutting the deck.
all right.
Actually, you know what? Maybe I can. I'm gonna try a thing. See if I can try this thing. If this will work, because I've never done this before. Pardon me.
All right.
Okay, this is weird. Super flipping weird. Which camera? Turn off the session.
Yeah, let me.
App. No. This is my end. This is my end.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can switch it off for now until like your switch is complete, so that way it gives you a bit more time. I doubt it, but let's see.
There we go.
Okay, I will go ahead and turn it back on. All right. Wanted to give you. Yeah, I wanted to.
Glowy keyboard.
Woohoo! Yeah, I wanted to make sure I maintained your privacy because I know like you do like camera stuff, like virtual camera
Yeah,
stuff.
I'm not very fond of camera,
Mm-hmm.
but I can show my hands.
But yeah,
That's fine.
okay. So yeah, I mean, also comment down below if you want me to try out a virtual avatar because they actually designed one for me, but I haven't tried it yet. So
Okay, so let's see if we can actually get the entire thing.
because it's a big one.
Yeah, you guys see it on the screen. It's super big, and I don't know what I was thinking when I was designing it. I must have been mad. Okay, so this is the vertical cutting deck technique that you have seen probably in the anime of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, you also
There are people who do this, but I just feel like I'm damaging the cards more than when I do the riffle. That or I just drop them everywhere, and at that point it's like, clean up New York.
Yeah, like or every single whatchamacallit, every single anime that has like a card component attached to it. Probably pretty good you've seen the shuffle.
Okay, that was a jumper for sure.
Oh yeah, the way it fell out, like that was immediate jumper right there. Yeah, I'm trying to come up with something to like make sure you can actually see what's going on, deck wise. So
Let's see if I'm just gonna put the jumpers to the side. I also need to okay, I'm just gonna move this board a little bit so I can see both the spread. I don't know where to put my stuff and my hands at the same time, so I'm keeping them in frame.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can tell, these cards are tiny.
They're
this is why
tiny.
I struggle to
like they look as small as like the anime deck, like this manga tarot deck that I got back when I was in college.
But maybe they'll actually fit the desk this time.
That is true.
Because every single time I've done this reading for anyone, I have had to move onto the floor.
Yeah, it's pretty infamous for that.
Because I don't have a single table that's big enough for this.
Ooh.
Oops, where's my coffee? Yeah, I'm using an Insta coffee jar as my stand for my camera.
Oh man.
This is going so well. Not.
Oh man. Oh man.
Chaos! But isn't that what we are made of? Oh, come on, really? It still might not fit. full-size deck.
Oh man.
And I have to also not drop all of the cards everywhere and
Mm-hmm.
just create what we call Tidy Stockholm, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Which is you throw the cards everywhere and the other person has to clean it up.
Oh, there's actually a term for that in the US as well. Um
Oh,
I think it's called like the I mean, it's mostly used for like card games, but I think
yeah.
it's something called like 52 card pickup.
We call it Tidy Stockholm.
Oh god.
Oh, the way I choose my cards, some people use their intuition more, but if I use it by I cut the deck until I reach a single card. If
Mm-hmm.
I can't get down to one card, I start over.
Ah, okay. Makes sense. Yeah, for me, it kind of goes. It's it's kind of like a doubling of randomization for me. The first thing I tend to do is I shuffle the deck, which is mainly more of a sensory thing to make sure I turn my mind off a little bit as I pick,
Oh,
and
that is so
then
nice.
oh, you like it?
Yeah, I like shuffling the deck too. It is an incredibly sensory thing that I just love to turn my mind off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then I spread it across the table, and then I use my non-dominant hand. In my case, it's my left hand to feel out if any cards stick out to me. Usually, it's like a little bit of a tingle or a warmth that crosses over my hand if there's a card that I need to pick. Or sometimes it like there's a little whisper, so like pick this one.
Mm. Yeah, that works too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that
So that way
these cards are.
I know for sure it's like doubly random.
Yeah, that I'm. This is the reason I'm making sure it's doubly random too. This is how I end up making sure it's doubly random.
Mm-hmm.
But it's bullshit again, again.
I mean, it's not as bad as previous times, at least.
Yes, but still, like, eh,
Oh gosh.
again. Okay, and I need to make sure we don't drop the camera again. Also, speaking of coffee.
Oh, that's
Well,
coffee.
cappuccino mix. Cappuccino mix.
Yeah, I think I used to drink a lot of that back when I was in college, and then sometimes I still pick some up just to like keep the convenience of having it there.
Yeah. Oh, funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing about my spread that I created.
Yeah,
It also kind of looks like a shield.
it does. It does absolutely.
Which is kind of funny. I didn't intend for it that way. I just liked it. Okay, so let's go through the spread one by one. This is how I do it. I always open one card at a time instead of flipping them all up together
Yeah,
in one go.
yeah.
Some people prefer that. I prefer reading the cards one by one so I can focus on that one card and then move on to the next. And then as we flip them, we can see eventually how they all tie together. And with jumpers, that tie in that red knot over that red string, red
Mm-hmm.
thread becomes even clearer. That's usually how I tend to do it.
Yeah.
And we start here. Each of these, as you can see from the spread, which is called Listen to Your Planets, excuse me, is based on both astrology and cartomancy. So, we're bringing in the power of the stars into our cards. We're using the zodiacs a little bit as a guide as well, because each card is assigned, or each planet is usually assigned to a specific zodiac. So that's why I just like astrology in general. Either way. So So, the sun, which is here in the middle, where we start, is the center, your ego, and the main concern at the moment. This is a very general reading, not really a specific question reading. It's like I said, a general reading, so you get a gist of various, because we go through different areas and topics through each planet and the moon and certain stars.
Yeah, and then like as you can see as well, you got like North Node, South Node, and Chiron, which is technically an asteroid. All of that's in here.
Because they all have all these three extras, and the moon, they have different meanings depending on astrology.
Right.
So for the sun, which is when you look at your sun sign, they're usually what is usually associated with your core personality and the thing that people see the most, but not the mask you put on in front of people. It's the first impression people get of you oftentimes, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Which is why the sun represents your ego and the main concern at the moment. What the biggest problem for you right now is, because it is the first thing we think of. And the moon is often tied to your emotional well-being, so fittingly enough, it represents your emotions. Mercury is often tied to intelligence or communications, so it represents thoughts and communication. Venus, the goddess of love, represents your love life. And Mars is yes, we are excluding Earth here. We don't need Earth.
Because we're literally on it right now.
Yeah. So Mars is often associated with something passionate or something that is like something you desire, whether it be something you are striving towards or something more carnal, or it's something you really care a lot about, something that gives you a drive. I struggle to find I honestly struggle to find something for Jupiter, but it seems the recurring theme of Jupiter seems to be luck.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's the recurring theme I'm seeing as well. Or like what, if I remember correctly, it's often like what element of life or what like aspect will make you more likely to be successful. It's considered the abundance planet essentially, because Jupiter is the god of planting in Roman mythology.
Yeah.
And side note, we are in Mercury retrograde right now as well. So yeah, for me,
we have a friend who absolutely hates and dreads Mercury
it.
Everything goes wrong for her apparently during that time.
Yeah, whereas for me, I kind of look forward to it because I was born in a Mercury retrograde, and it's the one time my phrasing makes sense. So everybody else's desks are on fire. Mine is perfectly fine.
Apart from the beginning of this stream, but sure.
Yeah. I mean, I attribute that to first time to streaming in a while, nerves, like getting my sea legs back. But now I think because I've gotten the nerves out of the way, it's getting a little easier now.
Yeah, good. Because we're going to be here a while.
We are going to be here for a while, so grab some
reading take.
Yeah, it takes a while. So grab some popcorn, grab some like drinks, or just whatever refreshments of your choice, because we are going to be here a while. But I assure you, we are going to make it entertaining for you guys. So,
with nothing else, there's going to be a lot of roasting.
Yes. I am prepared to be called out.
That's the most fun thing about tarot readings, is being allowed and able to call out your friends.
Yeah, because like if there's one thing these cards are good at, is making like it's like a good friend. They don't tolerate your BS, so will make sure to call you out on it so that you can fix it.
Exactly. Okay, Saturn is a very very drastic and extreme planet, generally speaking, which is interesting considering how close to the inner planets it is.
Yeah.
But I think that might have something to do with its rings. It just stands out. Either
So
way,
for yeah.
it governs self-discipline and responsibilities in this spread. Generally, the outer planets are much more. How do I put it? If the inner planets are very straightforward, very simple to grasp the concept of, the outer planets are more like not theological, but they are very more deep think.
Yeah.
They
So
are cutting you to the core, whether you like it or not.
yeah. So like the inners, they're very much more personal and more immediate, whereas the outers are more like what playing field were you in at the time that you were born? Like what are things that you're interacting with? And Saturn is like the closest to the inner planets in terms of immediate effect. So, speaking of, for those who are going through their Saturn turn right now, I am sorry, but also congratulations because it is basically, especially once you hit 31, 32, it's the first day of the rest of your life. Mine happened during the lockdown, so a good chunk of it unfortunately was
Ooh.
under lock and key. But the one thing I can assure you is that if you didn't make the changes during your Saturn return, don't worry. You could still do these things. It's not too late. So if there's anybody who's still going through their Saturn return or they're after their Saturn return, not too long after it, rest assured, you still got time to figure things out. Like, the only time you've got is yours.
Also, Uranus might be coming for your ass. Because speaking of, Uranus represents your uniqueness and your rebellion and rebellious side. So if you do not, if Saturn came late, well, Uranus is gonna come here and kick your ass. And kick you into gear if nothing else.
Yeah.
Neptune is representing here your imagination and dreams, like your imagination is kind of self-explanatory. In the dreams aspect, it can be interpreted as both the dreams you have at night and your long-term ambitions and goals. It could be both. Pluto is... We still count Pluto even if science doesn't.
Yep. I still count Pluto personally.
Same. Because Pluto is incredibly important, despite being the smallest planet of them all. Because Pluto governs your transformation, that transformative energy that will help you push forward.
Yep. Dwarf planet is still a planet to me. And side note, for those who are a little bit new in astrology, like Pluto is usually the one that's generation defining. So especially to my fellow millennials and Gen Z or Zillennial or the Zillennials to be more accurate. The Zillennials like on the cusp and all that stuff. Check your Pluto. If your Pluto hits a Scorpio, you're more than likely a millennial. If it's another sign,
Mine does.
If it's another sign, you're probably Gen Z. But yeah, take a look at your chart. That's where you'll figure it out for sure. But even at that, ultimately the label's up to you. Like culturally, I'm a Zillennial, but year-wise, I'm a millennial, and I'm not ashamed of that.
Year-wise, I'm a Zillennial, but according to astrology, I'm a millennial.
There you go.
Because I was born in 1995, which is literally in the middle.
Yeah, it's basically right on the cusp of that transition.
Yeah, like a friend of mine, whom I'm very close to, was born later than me, but same year. She was born in... And then the South Node represents your past life and yourself, past self, which is then talking about the circumstances surrounding what you've been living through previously and what the circumstances and the context surrounding your previous self. And then comes the most important part, according to me, which is Chiron. funny enough, number 13.
Yeah.
I don't know why I decided that my first ever custom spread was going to be 13 cards, but here we are. It's because Chiron represents your spiritual wound, the thing that hurts you the deepest, the thing that cuts you the most. Where your wound is determined by your zodiac sign,
Mm-hmm.
and or well, the wound is placed separated into different zodiac signs, and the here's where we get into star charts, where your what are they called? The degrees
Yes.
is determining where you land, I think.
I think so.
And Chiron, because it has to do with your wounds, your inner wounds, your spiritual wounds, I've decided that Chiron here talks about or shows how you heal, how you move forward with anything with any conflict, inflicted wounds, injuries you've sustained. Chiron is here to help you heal and move past it, or move forward, or move through it.
Yeah, that's
Which
pretty.
is why I've considered it very important.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's right in the chart as well. Chart as well. So that's like pretty much almost one for one. And I admit I have a difficult placement for mine because my Chiron happens to hit my birth sign, which is Leo. So happy birthday to me. But but it also it shows like as well when you do figure out where the wound is. It also shows like when you heal it, like how much more open and how much more potential your life can have. So it's wonderful, if anything, to know all this stuff. Um, so like if you're curious about it, there's a bunch of sites that I can easily recommend. If you're curious about it, I'll put it in the description. And there's this one book called "You Were Born for This" by Chani Nicholas. Who's a pretty famous queer astrologer that she does really amazing this really amazing podcast as well for like weekly readings and an app. So if you want to try that out, feel free to do so. Um, if you really want something very thorough that breaks each sign down rather thoroughly, I highly recommend Time Passages. Time Passages, it gets really precise down to the nitty gritty when it comes to how your chart goes. So give these things a shot, um and just take a look at what's there. And considering oh my gosh, like today's like forecast here in terms of my own chart, it's chaos.
Just like my star chart when I was born. We have this running gag between the two of us. That my stars, the stars when I was born, the exact moment I was born, the half hour, the day, my stars were either high or drunk or both. Because they are all over the place. Which is, in my opinion, it explains a lot. But as you can tell, it took us forever just to go through the chart. Just imagine when we start going through the cards.
Yeah, so but at least like we could feel like for those who are very clueless about this, um we're giving you at least some guidance as to how that goes. And I think we lost signal around when you were explaining the North Node. So as you can see here,
really?
Yeah, because by the time we got reconnected, you went immediately to the South Node. So.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I didn't realize we got connected.
Yeah, I didn't realize until like I saw like the red underneath the OBS signal thing.
Then maybe I should go over the North Node once more, just so people can get caught up and know what that means.
Yeah, real quick.
The North Yeah, the North Node represents your present life and your present self. So the circumstances and the context surrounding your present self and your past, your current life, and the things you're dealing with.
All right. So, yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious what my sun sign is, but if you want to guess my moon and my rising and my north node, feel free to guess yourself. Because I am, yeah, the number one rule they often tell sometimes is like, don't tell your whole don't tell your whole chart on the internet sometimes, because like that's the first,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's like if you're gonna share it, just like keep it to like the in-person interactions, not so much the internet ones. Although I know there are some people who are not as hard or fast or loose about that kind of stuff, but
At least you should keep your ascending to yourself, maybe, because it's supposed to be your mask.
yeah. Or who you're turning into.
Mm. Oh my god, no.
What?
I just remembered my own. I'm like, oh gods, no, please, no.
But I mean, who you're turning in? It's like well, the best way I could say it is like there's this DLC for Tomb Raider Underworld called Beneath the Ashes, and the best way I could say what the North Node, or like more so the Ascending is. It's when like the doppelganger meets Laura underground, and Laura asks, "Who are you?" And the doppelganger says, "I am you, with the flaws removed." That's how I see a rising sign. It's basically the peak of whatever the astrological sign is. Like whatever good traits that are in that sign, you'll get those.
That would be even more scared. Okay, but that's even neither here nor there. Shall we start?
let's
Let's see how accurate I am.
let's do it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So, for the sun, here in the middle, fittingly enough, because
Yes.
the sun is the center of our universe, or at least our solar system.
Yep.
Your ego and your main concern at the moment. Hi, my little foidling. Oh God.
Oh.
Wait, for this we have the judgment.
Oh boy.
We're starting off strong with a major arcana.
Wee.
Lovely.
Lovely.
Also, for this reading, I'll be as a resource because this tarot is heavily inspired and by the original way, right? Wait, no, I don't know what it's called. The one that everyone thinks of when they think of tarot.
Oh, the Rider-Waite-Smith.
Yes, that one. Because the themes of the cards are very similar to that, just with cats instead of knights and whatever. I'm using the second edition tarot for beginners by Lisa Chamberlain as my interpretation for these cards, and I think she's a very good author, very good at sourcing and like gathering information into a very compact, easily understood way.
I agree.
And so that's what I'm going to be using. I also have it as a physical book, which is something I prefer using, as you can tell here. I keep that with the pocket version because I can't afford the actual hardcover, but
Yeah, I'm starting to like actually like the books even more because because I'm on screens pretty much all the time for like work and all my other activities. So like having a physical book certainly helps me to give my eyes a break.
yeah, it definitely. I also just like smelling the books. I like holding the books. I like flipping through the books. I just
Yeah, it's just something. There's just something nice about having something tangible in your hands.
You
which
can't do this with an iPod.
no. Which reminds me as well, like, if you are getting a reading, find some way to record it down, be it audio or something else. I
Take a
love,
picture.
yeah, or a picture. I love having a notebook because then I can note down what it is that you're saying. Because sometimes, like, there might be some subtle message that you might be saying in real time that you might not consciously process, but like writing it down, it helps you recall what it was in that moment, or like recording it can sometimes help you like figure out what's in that moment. So yeah, small things like that it really helps. And then you can look back on previous readings with either the same spread or looking back a certain amount of time and seeing like if there's any pattern or recurring card that you feel like might be your significant card of some sort of circumstance.
Speaking of, you've had a lot of reverse cards previously.
Oh
Let's see
yeah.
how you do this time.
I wonder how many I'm gonna get this time.
Well, we start off strong with a non-reverse card, upright card, which is the judgment, so that's at least something.
Mm-hmm.
And the judgment is about evaluation, self-assessment, reviewing past choices, harvest, and renewal. And judgment is associated with truth, renewal, forgiveness, freedom, and higher consciousness. In the context of the Fool's Journey, the judgment card appears when it's time to review prior experiences, examine what we've learned, and make decisions about how best to move forward, evaluating our prior beliefs in the light of what we've recently experienced. It can bring about new insight and help us better understand our past. This card may also indicate a conflict between one's personal experience and beliefs and the dominant attitudes of one's community and society in general. Judgment is also about reaping the rewards of past efforts as well as the consequences of past actions. You may be asked to forgive yourself or others for wrongdoings in order to make space for new spiritual or emotional growth. If there are amends to be made, now is the time. Absolution and renewal can only occur after you let go. So upright, it represents rebirth, rewards, forgiveness, reckoning, rewards for past efforts that will help you in your future success and making wise changes. And considering what I know about you, because we're friends in real life, well, online.
Hey, hey, it
uh,
counts. It counts.
yeah. But considering what I know, I think this card is very apt at this point in time because you've been going through a lot of changes lately.
Oh yeah.
And you've been doing a lot of questioning regarding your upbringing and how it's affected you and how it's affecting you now. And how to reconcile yourself in context with the culture and the beliefs you were raised in.
Yeah, which I mean, it's also been very apt for like what I've been going through the past couple of weeks, because
Mm-hmm.
I realized so much that I've had to really put my priorities in order because I put so much focus on like stability and adult trappings and these rites of passage of like being the full adult or the certain image of who I should be that I forgot who it was I wanted to be and what I really cared about, which was caring for my loved ones and just enjoying what life brings. And once upon a time, like the money didn't even matter. Like even like I haven't monetized this channel at all, and I always love doing it. I always love coming here, and the fact that I can easily say that can go kind of goes to show that money was never the core issue. It was more so how I wanted to enjoy life. And I think it wasn't until like earlier this Sunday when I went to um, my local Unitarian Universalist fellowship that I realized that there really is a gift to admiring the simplest things in life.
Yeah. And I think that could also be what's referenced here when it comes to rewards for past efforts that will help your future success. Also, it's a lot of forgiving yourself for giving into previous falsities that you've lived your life according to.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, and again, it's a lot of emotional, spiritual growth here, which you've been going through a lot of lately.
Oh yeah.
And I think it being the ego and the main concern, or what's happening right now, the biggest thing we look at most, it is very apt here, just to represent that.
Mm-hmm.
And truth, renewal, forgiveness, like something I like to use keywords specifically, words that jump out at me for the current card with the current situation. In this instance, I think self-assessment and reviewing of past choices and renewal, evaluation. Those are words that really stand out here, and because I think you've been going through a lot of it. I think you're due to do more, but I think it's only going to help you moving forwards.
Absolutely.
But once we actually have a very quick sun card, that's weird. But shall we move on to the next? Are we ready?
Number 2.
What's behind card number 2? The moon, which represents
Zemon.
your emotions and emotional well-being. If they will flip. Oh god, we already have our first reverse.
What? Oh.
It's the reversed 8 of Wands.
Okay.
A pretty kitty, black and white.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're in the minor arcana now. If we find the wands.
Yep.
Nope. 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 Why do we... Okay, so they start... Reversed, it represents overwhelm, destabilization, delay, sluggish progress, and discernment. Overwhelmed due to too much happening at once, being caught off guard by sudden changes or fast-moving events, unexpected delays, uncertainty about potential opportunities. Avoid making hasty decisions just to solve problems quickly. Waiting is more advantageous at this time. Which really ties back to, again, the self-evaluation thing and self-assessment. But you have also been going through a lot emotionally lately. There's been a lot of new information that you've had to take in that's been impacting your personal, like your personal life, your emotions, your capability for stress. That's something also you've been working on for the past couple of months, as far as I'm aware. But you've also had a lot just recently happening, which I'm not going to state the details or the specifics, but I know you've been struggling a lot with, or have had some bad news lately, and I know it's stressful for you.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. Once again, like that part, especially about not wanting to make wanting to make like a hasty decision that I would regret. Like that's a big one there. That's been coming to mind pretty strongly.
Yeah, definitely. And this is why we love the tarot cards, because they are really good at discerning what's going on and reading you like a book. A friend of mine coined this term, or I'm not sure if she coined it, but she gave me this term, and I absolutely adore it. It's spicy psychology.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually been studies by psychologists about using tarot as a method of like self-evaluation and change. I'll try and see if I can get like the proper names for them, but like it has been studied, and there is a positive association with.
The thing is with tarot reading and the divination that we do with tarot cards, is that we're not divining the future. We are divining ourselves. We are reading people and potential paths forward, or what you need to address or look at or work with to move forward and gain what you want in life. or what certain actions could lead to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that's a
It's
big.
not that about that's a big fallacy that a lot of people mistake, or a myth that people think about when it comes to being read your cards. It's about, oh, you are going to divine, you're going to tell me my future. I'm like, no, that's not how it works.
Mm-mm. And even if even if it is divining the future, it's ultimately divining based on your present circumstance, because ultimately there is free will, because and also knowledge, because when the moment you pull those cards, you're getting knowledge that you didn't have previously, or you're reminded of something that you probably kept unconscious or subconscious for a while. So like the moment you have the information, you have the choice either to like follow through based on what you currently have, or change something. At that point, the outcome, it's pretty much liberty at this point. Like it could happen faster, it could be slower, or it could be avoided entirely, or something
And if a
else.
specific card, and if a specific card keeps coming up in different readings for different problems, there's something about that card that's really important that you should listen to.
Absolutely.
Because I remember this one, like friend, she kept getting. I also have a fairy tale deck, and my Three of Swords is a folk tale from Japan called The Crane Wife.
Mm-hmm.
She kept getting that card for several readings over the passage of a year.
Mm.
We thought it meant one thing, but it seemed to not be that at all.
No.
But it was a very strong. It was a card that kept repeating and recurring, coming
Yeah.
back over and over, and that was really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a few go arounds before you realize what the card is actually trying to tell you.
Absolutely. And even though like overall like the meanings might be the same, like depending on how the designer makes the cards, it can be completely different. So like what you would see in, let's say, maybe like the Rider Waite Smith deck, it could be something else, symbolize something else with like maybe, let's say, like the Light Seers deck or that fairy tale deck that you just mentioned. So
Exactly.
like this is like if you have multiple decks, especially, it's a good time for you to like maybe like look at like how the same card looks in different decks and see like what vibe you get off of each of them.
Mm-hmm. And this is why when something is heavily based off the that deck,
Rider Waite Smith.
when it's like, yes, that I can't ever remember that other than the W and the S. That's the only thing I ever remember about the name.
The
But because
RWS.
this, yeah, but because this deck is heavily based or influenced or inspired by that, just with cats instead, this is why, like I said before, I'm using a very basic tarot like guide for reading the cards.
Mm-hmm.
There is a resource that my friends, including others here, is likes to use as well, called Biddy Tarot. And but personally, I just really I do have a lot of faith in Lisa Chamberlain. Hashtag not sponsored.
I like her stuff too, so that's why I
Um,
recommended it. And I totally forgot that
mhm.
she had tarot stuff too. Another source that I like to use is Labyrinthos. Labyrinthos has a pretty good app that you can store previous readings, and you can even make your own on the same page. And Labyrinth, like the creator of Labyrinthos, has like five or like 5 or 6 different decks, maybe 7, because like she also does Oracle and Lenormand as well. Lenormand is one system I've always wanted to learn.
The more you learn, the more decks you have, the easier it becomes to read for yourself because they all represent different things. I'm currently trying to work out my own personal deck, but it's kind of hard because it's going to be just like with this Listen to Your Planets spread. I am heavily into astrology, but I also love cartomancy, so I have my idea is most likely gonna be like 88 cards in comparison to the normal, like, what is it, like 78?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's kind of like learning multiple languages. Eventually, you kind of get one or two that you tend to lean towards a lot more, because like you just like the feeling when you speak it. And then there's other ones like it's good to have
Mm-hmm.
under your cap too. And even when you get better, at readings. Sometimes it's also good to get like a second opinion. It's kind of like when you're it's like when you sometimes when you go to the doctor, you like having a second opinion on something just to be sure, like, hey, does this seem right? But like just like get a second glance on that.
Which is why it's really good to record your readings, and both the ones you give and the ones you get. So I suck at it because I can't take notes while I'm listening to something.
Yeah, whereas I think because I've done like years of school and this.
Oh, I did school completely noteless, which is probably why I suck.
That would explain it then.
Like, if you want me to take notes during class, you need to write the important things that I can just write down one point by point, because I'm gonna copy that board, and I'm not gonna do that until you're done talking. So, but usually if I have to write it down, it will take me ages, or I will just grab a screen, like I'll grab a snapshot with my phone, and like I'll grab a picture, because that's gonna be the easiest thing.
Oh yeah, there are I have my exceptions. Like if I'm in like a science class, let's say, and they're gonna like write equations really quickly, it's like phone, snap, and then keep writing, and then I'll fill in all the stuff later.
I wish I could take notes like that. I can't. Because I will hear words, and then sometimes I am diagnosed with ADHD and autism spectrum disorder. So for me, my brain will sometimes just skip words altogether, so I can't focus on both at the same time. Anyways, let's continue, because these two clearly are very connected.
Oh yeah.
Which makes sense. You've gone through a lot of emotional shit lately. Mercury, your thoughts and communication, and because we are now in Mercury retrograde, and you seem to do well under Mercury retrograde. Let's see what Mercury has to say.
Yeah, which I know it's weird, but hey.
Yeah, you are. Damn, the black sheep. Sorry. Okay. Oh, we get another reverse card.
Oh no!
Enjoy. It's the Wheel of Fortune reverse.
Oh no!
This is not boding well.
No. But I mean if it's any consolation, Wheel of Fortune, regardless of which direction it's going, the biggest thing you have to remember about the Wheel of Fortune is this too shall pass.
And honestly, the thing I can think of currently is very funny. I'm gonna read it out, but I'm gonna tell you later what I thought of when I saw the Wheel of Fortune reverse. That's hilariously funny when it comes to your thoughts and your communication, because it is cycles, turning of events, changing seasons, positive forward motion, the need to stay centered. The Wheel of Fortune is all about the one concept that we can count on in life: change. As the 10th and final card of the CAD, within the major arcana, it highlights the cyclical energy of the universe. As events and the circumstances come to a close, the stage is set for new developments. This card often appears in a reading concerning unexpected or unforeseen developments that change your plans or alter your course, for better or for worse. Whether you're in advantageous circumstances, I can read, or in the midst of struggle, know that the Wheel of Fortune is always turning. The most stable place to be is actually in the center, rather than the top or bottom. In that sense, this card may be advising you to not get attached to particular outcomes at this time. No matter how well we plan or prepare, our friend should keep that in mind. No one is ever completely in control of events. But this card reminds us that everything, the good and the bad, is temporary. Just like you said, this too shall pass.
Yep.
In the reverse position, it represents instability, I swear I can read. Unexpected disturbance, short-term success, a temporary downturn in luck due to external forces beyond your control. Be prepared for contingencies, success that can't last or is built on shaky ground. And the first thing, like I said before, that I was going to mention after I read this part aloud, it's the SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah.
Because what isn't your streams but a lot of communication and you talking a lot about your thoughts whilst playing and communicating your interest to the world, to people, because that's what your streams are. You're putting a lot of your personal self into it. But with the SAG-AFTRA, that has also put a bit of a spanner in the works for some projects.
It did. Unfortunately, it did. Especially for like the future games that I really want to play. Okay, for those of us who are just jumping into this, take a look at the list of games that I have. Majority of them are from Struck companies.
And your favorite,
my favorite
of all,
one
Kingdom
of all.
Hearts.
So I feel
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, so I feel so weird whenever I do my outro. So I've been doing like this thing like that I've been doing since like TikTok was like, and you know the rest. But it doesn't feel right.
Which is why I'm so happy that my outro has not been compromised by the SAG-AFTRA.
All because one company was not involved. And also, you're in Europe. You're not affected by this.
Also, I don't think I'm ever gonna be part of the SAG-AFTRA.
Whereas I
always reference Final Fantasy. I've referenced Final Fantasy 14. That's Square Enix, not Disney.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kingdom Hearts is Square as well, but it has Disney properties in it, so technically is under it. And even though, again, SAG did say I can play whatever and it still will be fine. I just
it feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think this is also where Mercury, like looking at this now, like hopefully I'm not infringing your style a little bit, but looking at Mercury, I think it's also in a way connecting with the sun. I think this is also maybe a time for me to reassess like where I'm getting too puritanical when it comes to my assessments, because like I know I could technically still play those games, and yet I don't feel comfortable doing that. And it's like, why am I putting myself in this imposed prison of morality when the powers that be had literally said it was fine for me to play those things?
That's a very nuanced question, to be honest, though, but because nowadays morality is a lot in flux. It is, everyone's morality is put under a microscope nowadays.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not part of this, if you're not part on the right side of morality, you will get burned.
Yeah.
Badly. Also, you want to be part of the SAG-AFTRA one day. This could influence your future. Of course, you'd want to be careful about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That makes sense. And yeah, we definitely are seeing a pattern here with the inner planets currently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and yet, like, the scabbing for this is not as strict as compared to the screen acting strike that happened last year, where, like, if you reference even something that just released, like, you could possibly get, like, even just cosplaying it, you could lose your membership or possibility of it.
Which is... It's because it's video games and people don't take it seriously.
Yeah, and I think it's also because, like, a lot more of the stuff is internal. So, like, the development itself can still continue unencumbered. It's just the voice acting you wouldn't be able to do as easily. Or the motion capture.
Mocap specifically, I think. A lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people still don't consider voice acting to be acting.
But I think that's precisely why the strike occurred in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And it's just really sad that we still have that. Like, that people think that way.
Yeah. But what I can easily see is I think this will affect games that tend to use crunch, aka ones that have like more real time updates, like Fortnite a lot more, or like a Valorant per se, rather than things that would take a longer development time. And also I think the other tricky thing. Sorry for getting off topic here, but I think it's also really relevant considering it's Mercury. Um, the other tricky thing is voice acting is very hard to unionize because you need thousands of hours of various effects for the game or the animated show to sound even remotely convincing. Realistic is not the right word, but like convincing that it's an established world. And it's something that, like, for a SAG actor, or like somebody under SAG or some other stricter guild, would consider unacceptable in an average instance.
And the thing is also very difficult, I imagine, is that voice acting can be done. It doesn't need to be in the studio necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you have a good microphone and good recording, you could record it at home.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot you can do in your house. But I think it's especially like the compensation model. It's been screwed over quite a bit. Crunchyroll.
Crunch.
Pretty much.
You were talking about crunch time earlier.
That is true.
Now we got Crunchyroll and crunch.
So, shall we go into card number 4?
Yes, let's go to Venus, which you haven't seen much of, sadly. I wish for you to have a happy love life, okay? I swear. Oh dear. Another reverse card.
Oh boy. That's 3 already.
Yes, that's the card, and it's the card that I associate with mental well-being, and mental and emotional well-being.
Oh no.
The Ace of Cups.
Oh no. That's the one I did not want overturned.
Because upright, to me, it represents emotional and mental well-being. Because generally, the cups are about your emotions and your mental health. Generally speaking. And the ace is the pinnacle. So when that's upside down, oops.
Oh god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what does it say? What does it say?
Repressed or blocked emotions, creative stagnation. An emotional block may prevent the growth of love, leading to stagnation and emptiness, anxiety around having enough time or emotional energy to spend with loved ones, possibly a warning about being too psychically open and the need to establish energetic boundaries. Problems with fertility may also be indicated. Well, we have no issues regarding that at the moment. But this in relation to your love life, we've definitely seen, and you definitely have experienced an emotional blockage in regards to believing in, or when it comes to love. It's one of the things that has been the hardest for you, actually, which is why I know that you've been going through a rough time emotionally and have been going through
um
give me a moment.
Yeah, take your time. And y'all, in a way, have kind of seen it on this channel too. I did go out for one person for about a year. It's been 2 years since that ended, and to date, that hasn't really that situation hasn't really changed. Because partially it's been kind of busy, and partially because I was not exactly the best spot right now in terms of that front.
Yeah. I sent a message regarding the thing I want to mention, but I'm not sure how, if I'm allowed to mention that
Ah,
in on your platform.
okay, we're gonna chat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can mention that.
Okay. Um, you've been going through therapy specifically, especially regarding the culture you grew up in, which has had an impact on your love life and how you look at love and relationships on the whole. And I think this is it's telling you that you're still not would where you would want to be ideally, maybe in regards to being open to that kind of relationship. But it's good that you're working on it. You know, I think it's calling out that blockage
Yeah.
as still there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially if we're going to tie it to your love life.
Yeah. Obviously, it's something that like I'm not gonna necessarily fix overnight. Like it's gonna like, it took time to
Mm-hmm.
get there. It's gonna take some time to undo. I have noticed that I feel like I'm getting a bit more ready for it, but obviously there's just one. It feels like it's just one more. There's one more thing I'm still trying to get through.
Yeah. Outside of your love life specifically, I think this card is also calling out your fear regarding specifically your father.
Mm,
I mean, there's been a lot happening between you and your family lately, and I know how much you love your dad. So, yeah.
yeah, sense of good vibes, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Of course, always. Definitely send Toddler some vibes, some good juju. She needs it. Her family needs it. They're gonna need some strength in the upcoming times.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's been doing.
But yeah, outside of the love,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so far he's been doing pretty good. And of course, when it comes to challenging readings like these, here's a little tip as well. Like, just take what you need if you need it and leave the rest. Like, ultimately, you do not have to take all this stuff as gospel.
mm-hmm.
In fact, if anything, you shouldn't.
It's a guiding. It's like it's one guiding path out of several possible.
Yep, they're signposts.
Mm-hmm. And again, something I forgot to say about the previous cards, but I'm gonna bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
The words that stick out are the repressed and blocked emotions and creative stagnation, just like the ones that were described here. Anxiety about having enough time.
Mm-hmm.
You live with a lot of anxiety, even if you're very good at hiding it to others. And then there is the emotional block that may prevent love, the kind of love that you want, that you wish for.
Mm-hmm.
But you're working through that. So I think it's telling you, yeah, still problems, but of course we'll get there.
We'll get
It's
there.
just you're having some hurdles, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just saying that you still have something to work out. You're not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm.
It can be both good and bad, but I think it's a good way to say that. Okay, I have made progress. I still have more progress to do. I'm not done yet,
Mm-hmm.
which is also good. Again, like referring back to the Wheel of Fortune, change is a neutral thing.
Mm-hmm.
Neither good nor bad. It's just there. You know?
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mars. Shall we move on to passions and desires?
Yep, let's do it.
Oh, finally an upright card!
Yay!
The Two of Swords.
Oh!
Oh, want to talk about your relationship with the swords?
So, Two of Swords traditionally means there's a stalemate or some conflict between like two traditionally opposing or conflicting ideas, and neither side's giving in. So it's kind of like a push for you to say like choose one.
Oh, you definitely living that lately, especially with your Twitch. Yeah, it does say here, upright, the Two of Swords represents choices, indecision, stalemate, and a truce. However, because it also says choices and a truce, that also is a positive in a way that it's possible to reach that truce, come to an understanding, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to make the choice, and you're currently being plagued by indecision, and you're at a stalemate because you can't decide. But once you make a choice, it is possible to come to a truce. You just need to make the choice, which is the hard thing.
Yeah.
So, competition between people's egos or ideas, inability to make a decision, the need for negotiation and compromise regardless of feelings. Objectivity is especially important now. Be willing to balance your needs with those of the other person or people involved. There is much potential for conflicts to be resolved. Again, I keep thinking SAG-AFTRA. Because the SAG-AFTRA is right now something that's causing a bit of an issue with, in terms of your Twitch specifically, with your passion and desires there. You know?
Yeah, like, I mean...
It's a bit of a roadblock, at least.
Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous, because, I mean, I know, like, again, logically, I can play those games that I listed, because these ones came out way before this even occurred, and they even explicitly say on the website, which I did show in a stream, I think about 2 weeks ago, that I can play those games. Like, if anything, they're encouraging us to continue with our usual business. But then it's like, there's that little bit of, like, that fear of, like, looking like I'm a scab, even though I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Again, it's the morality question, which is things you hold a lot of value to, especially, and nowadays on the internet, it's not the easiest thing to be the perfect person.
No. And yet, it's like
morality is never like just one thing.
No, it isn't. And yet, it's like, I feel like in some ways we're starting to get slowly but surely a little better in terms of being a little bit more aware, empathetic of our humanity when it comes to the internet, because I think now we're all getting into the public eye to some level, maybe not to the extent of celebs, and as much as I'm not a fan of the term nepo babies, like it's like, as much as it's not up to that level, it's still to that extent uncomfortable to be in, voluntarily or not.
Yeah, it is. It's not something that our generation, whether you're a millennial or a millennial, really grew up with, because we are older than Google.
Yeah, that's the part that I kind of process. Like, that's rather hard to process. Like, we are, like, even though granted we were still kids when Google occurred, but we are older than Google.
So, I mean, Gen Z, a lot of them at least, and definitely Gen Alpha, were born into a world where Google always existed.
Yep. Whereas, like,
We did not.
yeah, like we were. I mean, we grew up when Google when like when Google existed like in our critical years. So that's still part of our lexicon, really, just like Gen Z was. But we saw it from the very beginning.
Even if we don't all remember it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm actually, both you and I are older than Pokemon.
Yeah,
It
you're
came out
right.
in 1996.
You're right.
It came out in 1996. I'm a 95.
And I was 92.
So we're older than Pokemon even.
Yeah, we're older than Pokemon.
And yet one of my core memories growing up is Pokemon. Pokemon. And to be fair, it came out the year after I was born, so.
Yeah, and there was even a meme this morning that I saw on YouTube where it was showing like what I thought Pokemon 20 years ago looked like, and it was like the classic black and white icons, and then it showed like what actually Pokemon looked like 20 years ago, and it was like the more well defined color icons. Still Game Boy-ish, but still it was like I was like, oh no.
Reminds me of when a friend of mine keeps sharing things on Facebook, and I just feel like you're calling both yourself and me old, and it hurts. And you're only a year older than me.
Yeah, I feel like BMO the Prince, like that stereotypical drunk millennial thing. Oh my gosh.
It's so accurate. Sometimes I just want to drown my sorrows, even though I've never been drunk in my entire life.
I've never been drunk either.
Sometimes I just want to, though. Because life.
Yeah, and then I think about it, and it just doesn't look fun.
No, it doesn't look fun. And I don't want to deal with a hangover, but honestly, life is not fun anymore either, so. Okay, shall we move on to your luck with Jupiter? Let's see if your luck has turned from last year. Do you remember your last year?
Oh god, yeah. That was...
Pull out your last year. Let's see how it compares to Jupiter specifically.
Okay.
Do you have that nearby?
I had my own toppling over moment. My mic just went... I gotta check out my earphones for this. What? My mic just like toppled over when I got it. I had my own moment, but like my mic was not even balanced on anything. It just went wee. All right. Let me take a look at my old reading here. One sec. Alright, let me get the headphones on. Alright. Okay. So, the first time... Okay. I got all of them here. So the first time we did the spread back in 2022 on my 30th birthday. We went to the Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So, okay, this is interesting. So back in 2022, so for Mars, 2022, I got the Two of Swords in reversed. And then 2023, I got the Two of Wands in reversed. So it looks like the two...
You have a thing with two.
Yeah, there's a thing with two going on here. This time I went back to the Two of Swords, but this time it's upright. That's interesting.
Yeah. And for Jupiter?
Mm-hmm. So the previous times, the first time we did this, it was Knight of Wands in reverse. Then last year, it was Page of Wands upright.
You're gonna have a funny moment.
Okay.
The Six of Wands upright.
What? Okay.
And the funny about that is the fact that if you turn a 6 upside down, we get a 9.
We got a 9. Nice.
Okay, so let's see what Jupiter has to say to you this year. Also, something I haven't mentioned up until now, I have my own interpretation of the different minor arcanas.
Okay. How do you see
I do
them?
agree with I agree with the mental health and emotional well-being with the cups or the chalices. But I do not agree with the pentacles, meaning of monetary gain or monetary or materialistic things. It's called coins in some ways, in some editions, but I was first introduced to the pentacle, which to me is magic. So creativity, imagination, all of that is tied to the pentacles, in my opinion. And I tie that element to, and I tie the pentacles and the magic and the imagination to the element of air, even though pentacles are not tied to the element of air traditionally, I think.
Yeah.
I recall correctly then.
Yeah, air is typically with swords.
Whereas with wands, I associate the wands with journeys and travel, like a walking cane or a walking stick. And so, because it's also made of wood, generally, I associate the wands with the element of earth, which I think is traditionally for the pentacles, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
And when it comes to the swords, I associate swords with drastic action or extreme measures, and a lot of doing rather than talking or saying. You talk with your actions rather than your words with the sword, and it's oftentimes very drastic, extreme actions. Like when you are fighting with a sword, it's very oftentimes, because it's a weapon, you hurt people, and that can be seen as a very extreme action. Yeah. And I associate, because of the violence that I then affix to the sword, I associate it with the element of fire.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the point I'm saying is that with the wands here, which we have a theme of apparently, of you having wands in your luck. It's on a journey, clearly. And I guess the goal is to get you to the Ace of Wands. Or to get you to the King of Wands. Either or. But yeah, let's go and have a look at what the Six of Wands have to tell you this year. Upright, it represents victory, success, public recognition, self-confidence, progress, and reward. Well, that's very interesting. Well-earned victory after much effort and overcoming obstacles, good news, success, and completion of tasks at hand. Moving forward after being temporarily stalled, possible awards or other public recognition for your achievements, a good time for resolving legal matters, delay contracts, or a work issue. Succeed, and your reward is well deserved. And again, I think of the SAG-AFTRA and your Twitch. In terms of your luck, if you play your cards right, this is a very much play your cards right. Your luck is in your own hands, but it is leaning towards the positive this year. Is what I would argue this card is telling you. You know? Specifically, the thing that stands out is the self-confidence and public recognition, because the GAFTRA is very public, your Twitch is very public, and you want your Twitch to go somewhere, you know? You might not have monetized it yet, but it would be fun, wouldn't it?
It would.
And play your cards right. You will gain that self-confidence. You will gain the public recognition, even if it's small. It's a lot of work and temporarily being stalled, success, completion of tasks, delayed contracts. I mean, that is just a scream SAG-AFTRA or legal matters. Again, SAG-AFTRA. You know?
Now I'm starting to feel like this might be a SAG-AFTRA reading.
It's starting to feel that way. Well, you definitely opened with it.
Which I think maybe might be reference to number 4 with Venus. Maybe I made myself a little too open energetically to that, so I kind of overshadow what. But on the other hand, though, the playing your cards right.
Yeah, maybe you'll meet your future partner through this entire debacle. Or maybe your future partner is part of the SAG-AFTRA.
I don't know. I don't know at this point.
Oh, I love your energy and you look beautiful today, by the way. I haven't said that before, but I just want you to know that you look beautiful.
Thanks.
Let's see what Saturn has in store for you, shall we?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Good. Self-discipline and responsibilities.
Alright.
Let's see how well you will. Let's see what the cards are telling you. How well you'll be able to play your cards.
Yeah, I got a lot of reverse cards for this one. Because in 2022 I got the Emperor, and then last year I got the 5 of Pentacles. Both reversed.
This is interesting. Not sure how to read this one, to be perfectly honest, just by looking at it. I'm not going to keep you in suspense. It's the 8 of Swords reversed.
Another reverse one. Okay.
You have a lot of them this year for some reason.
But out of all the ones to be reversed, this one's actually the best one to get reversed, actually, because swords, like you said, in a way, it often represents a drastic action, usually deliberate, but a very drastic action. And what I find with swords, especially, I kind of call it, at least like with my presentations, because I recently started, this year I started presenting about the tarot. I took a little bit of a hiatus the last couple of months. I'm hoping to get back into it this month. But the swords I kind of like to call like the path of the fallen warrior, because if you go further and further along with the path of the swords, where you see how each image gets more drastic the further in you get to it, it often means it often is a signal for like when you're going too far into something. And usually when you get like when you get to like maybe like the first 3 or 4 cards into it, you still have some chance of turning it back. By the time you get to like 7 through 9, that's when you've gone too far. It's like you're in the weeds now. Like, you're too plagued with what's going on in your mind. And by the time you get to 10, there's a resolution, but you've come away with some battle scars, some doubts.
Which, funny enough, on that topic, the 8 of Swords reversed regarding your self-discipline and your responsibilities. Reverse 8 of Swords represents doubt, pessimism, self-imposed restriction. What did we talk about earlier? Self-blame, trapped by negative thinking and a tendency to expect the worst, allowing doubt to prevent action toward progress, regrets about jumping to conclusions or premature actions, being too caught up in guilt and self-reproach to see a way out of the problem, the need for self-forgiveness. And if that ain't the Thunder's card, I don't know what is.
Yeah, you said the quiet part out loud.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean...
You are a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Even before the SAG-AFTRA, even before this year, this has been a lot of you in all of the parts of the this entire spread. It's a lot of you in there. And we should hope we can reverse this somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of your supporters would say the same. Especially the self-imposed resistance, self-doubt, the self-blame.
Yeah, like, oh god, a lot of my streams earlier like just had a lot of that self-doubt and well, the fact that like what I wasn't being able to like do the intros the way I wanted. Like, it's like a lot of things that didn't come out the way I wanted to come out, and as a result I felt like I needed to pause, and that pause lasted so many months. Oof.
And I'm going to reiterate the need for self-forgiveness.
Yeah.
You needed that time.
I did. Absolutely I did.
And regarding this in your self-discipline, I think this is telling you it's okay to be less restrictive. Yes, it's important to have responsibilities, but you have let your own self-doubt and pessimism take over your responsibilities and your self-discipline to the point where it's no longer productive.
Mm-hmm.
You're not being productive. You're overcorrecting responsibilities. You're being hyper self-disciplined, or to the point of not stagnation but paralysis.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And we're finally going into the deeper part of yourself, and we're not focused on the SAG after, which is a funny thing that, like I said before, the inner planets tend to be more superficial and the outer planets tend to be more deep. They tend to be more introspective than outrospective. Which is kind of funny because we just moved into the, if you're a Sailor Moon fan, the outer planets.
Yeah.
And in Sailor Moon, if you go to that, because I also grew up with the show and I adore it. Hashtag not sponsored. Sailor Saturn is the most misunderstood Sailor soldier because her powers are death and rebirth. She has the power to destroy an entire planet, but she also has the power to reset a planet. But she has to destroy it first, which is where the misunderstanding comes in. Which is why Saturn is a rather important planet, and it's something interesting that we start here. And here we get to really look more deeply into you, Condors. With the call calling you out the way it does. And again, you are self-disciplined, have a lot of it, but you also tend to forget yourself within your responsibilities and your self-discipline. You tend to forget what your self-discipline and responsibilities are for, who they're for, why you have them. For yourself.
Yeah. And yeah, like Saturn being the outer, that's like in a way like she's pretty close. I mean, especially once you get to like the latter seasons, she's pretty close to like the inners in terms of age, at least. Like by the time like that rebirth occurs. But she is an outer, but not only by the nature of her powers, but also like spatially, the outers and the inners are split by the asteroid belt.
Mm-hmm.
Which, side note, I'm surprised we haven't even had. I mean, I know at least in the manga and in concept art, we we do have the asteroid senshi. Um, um, Ceres, Vesta, Pallas, and Juno. But of
Mm-hmm.
course, y'all probably know them better as the Amazonas Quartet. Um, Vasu Vasu, Sere Sere, Jun Jun, and Para Para.
I bet Para Para is the one that people remember the most.
Yeah. But yeah, they are the asteroid senshi. You don't see it in the anime, but in the manga they are.
Mm-hmm. Do we feel ready to move on to
Yes.
Uranus?
Yes, let's do this. Let's shake the world.
Where does she
Shaking?
think? Well, fuck. She ain't playing. The reversed hanged man.
Oh boy.
Yeah, another card that's very drastic, and the major arcana in reverse. But then again, why am I surprised? Since when has Uranus ever played around?
She never does.
Mm-mm. Time of wait, needing a rest, things at a standstill. This doesn't sound like Uranus at all. The need for a new perspective, opportunity for inner peace. The Hangman is considered one of the most important tarot archetypes in the journey of the soul. This card is not about being persecuted or punished, rather, it reminds us that great insights often follow periods of great difficulty, and that there is value in downtime. You could learn from that. It teaches patience and the value of right timing. This card may appear when you're feeling overwhelmed by circumstance and can't see a way forward, or the way forward may be temporarily blocked. This card advises that there is no point in straining or struggling against current obstacles at this time. Trust that things are being worked out behind the scenes and relax for now. The Hangman represents the opportunity to gain a fresh perspective, but only after spending some time in stillness and perhaps letting go of old plans or dreams. Focus on the present for now rather than dwelling on the past or worrying about what happens next. However, in reverse, it represents fear of change, time to act, missed opportunities, let go of old ideas, so you can be open to new understanding. Don't sell yourself short in order to stay in your comfort zone. Yeah, she called you out good here.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I especially I need to remember at this point is oftentimes like what you see on the internet is people that have already have like been in the game, I guess, for a number of years. So, and remembering that like they also too are work in progress, and the result you often see is the thing that they put like months, if not years, of hard work in. Like you're seeing a highlight reel of all that work. There isn't really, I mean, unless you have to be a nepo baby or something, or you have to be super rich. There really is no such thing as overnight success.
That's just social media at all, generally, also. Seeing the highlights, you know?
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like that's even just like life in general. Like especially like when it comes to like public life and publicity and advertising and all that stuff.
Oh, by the way, if people are wondering what I'm eating, it's um corn,
Ah.
popped, kind of like, corn,
Mm-hmm.
not popcorn,
Mm-hmm.
but it tastes like popcorn.
Mm. Yeah. I have something like that back in Cameroon as well.
Oh, it's so delicious.
Mm-hmm.
So also so simple flavor, but I love it. Also just salted.
Mm-hmm.
Just salted. Um Something you've been going through your rebellion right now, actually. With tying it back to the rebellious side of you, you have been letting go of a lot of old ideas as you're going through therapy, so you can be open to new understandings, especially about yourself. And I think that in itself is your rebellion.
Mm.
Breaking old patterns, old teachings that you've been taught but you haven't related to.
Mm.
You know, for you who value a lot of what has been taught because of the people, your community, your culture. You value a lot of that. You're right as part of your identity. Saying that is wrong either, but
Mm.
it has also caused you a lot of harm. So your rebellion is finding yourself in a new context in that. What I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Because here is because as it says in reverse, let go of old ideas so you can be open to a new understanding. And you're so used as well to selling yourself short and being told here to don't sell yourself short, don't do that. It's rebelling against yourself too.
Mm.
Rebelling as well as against the people who told you that that, that told you things that made you doubt yourself. You know? It's definitely I think this is very representative of your own rebellions
Mm.
and your rebellious side. But damn, Uranus didn't hold back.
Mm-mm. No.
None of the outer planets ever hold back, I swear.
No, they do not.
Okay. For Neptune, the dreams and imagination, the imagining girl. Oh god.
I guess we're deeply submerging into some truths now.
The devil. Upright.
Oh boy!
Girl! They ain't playing!
Okay, let's give you an idea of what I got previously for this one. So, get to the right page, there we go. That too. So previously, the first year I did this, got Ace of Pentacles upright. Last year, I got the Hermit reversed.
And now it's the devil. Upright. Imagination and dreams. Your imagination, your imaginative side, your creativity, and both your night dreams and your higher aspirations. Choices and consequences, fear or worry, materialism, a sense of feeling trapped, liberation versus restriction. The devil does not represent the evil figure in the Christian worldview. Instead, this card speaks of the inner wildness we all possess that generally needs some management through the skills associated with cards like the Temperance, the Hermit, and Justice. Our primal nature is not something to be suppressed, but rather judiciously drawn from as we navigate our lives within society. We have free will to choose well. This card may indicate that you allow your ego to make you feel separate from the interconnectedness of the universe, perhaps focusing on fear and negativity, sometimes too much focus on the material world that can make us lose perspective. I mentioned this earlier. The devil may also point to addictive behaviors that are holding you back, which you may or may not be conscious of. On the other hand, this card may indicate that you are neglecting your inner wild side too much. You always do. If you have too tight of a rein on your behavior, you may be starving your creative powers. So trust yourself and let loose a little. Upright, it represents short-sightedness, impulsivity, choices, liberation over restriction. Examine your motives carefully with regard to your current circumstances and keep the bigger picture in mind. Very apt for Neptune, I'd argue. And she's telling you to be more intuitive, trust your creativity, and don't let yourself be restricted by the expectation of others when it comes to your creativity. That's my take on it. And don't restrain yourself when it comes to dreaming. Dream big. Let yourself be free of the chains of restriction that the society has placed on you. Do not let yourself be chained down, drowned, or pushed down. Let yourself dream. The universe is your limit.
Whew. Yeah, now it feels like I think this is the. I think, funnily enough, I feel like the Uranus and Neptune, in a way, are personifying a two of swords energy, because I'm kind of hearing two messages here. Because Neptune is talking about indulging in those dreams and dreaming big and allowing yourself to act on them. But then Uranus is talking about stand still, trusting the timing, and there might be some ideas and dreams that I have to let go of in order to move forward. And some of the dreams that I've had are ones that I've had for a very long time. Now, debatably, there might have been some of them that were just socially conditioned or something that I've been told by whoever's important to me in my life. On the flip side, however, there are some things that I genuinely wanted to do, but then maybe at some point I kind of realized that maybe it isn't for me, or maybe it's better that I do drop this because it just never happened, or I'm being stubborn, just realizing it's just not meant for me. But then maybe that idea, maybe it's just meant for me, is my way of restricting the dream in the first place. You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah, I do.
So it's kind
of. I think this is why they seem like they're being oxymorons right now, but I think they are trying to, like, they are coming from different viewpoints, but steering you towards the same path of being more true to yourself. You know? Coming back to you. Not society, not the people you love, not everyone else's expectations or wants for you. What you want. That's what I think they're trying to tell you. Yeah. But that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it's all me-centered here. Uranus, your uniqueness and rebellion, or slash rebellious side, versus Neptune is your imagination and dreams. So, kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And then, let's see, what's the transformative energy that permeates you this year?
Time to do a dead scream into the void.
What the fuck?
What?
The Ace of Wands reverse.
What? What?
The heck?
Okay, what in the world is this?
What?
We got the Ace of Cups reversed. And then we got another one, Ace of Wands reversed. What the
heck?
Yeah.
Imagine the jumper card also being an ace. Okay, let's see. Lack of motion, lack of inspiration, and delays. What the fuck, Pluto? Feeling uninspired or losing enthusiasm for an endeavor. Frustration due to delayed projects or activities. Are we going back to the SAG-AFTRA? Possibly due to lack of sufficient planning, inability to move forward, timing for acting on ideas or starting a new project is momentarily unfavorable, but with patience, success is still within reach. How do we translate to transformative energy? I'd say that they are in flux right now. And like it says, it is possible to change your winds. You are currently at a wind still. We are on the ocean, and you are right now experiencing no wind.
The
You need wind to
doldrums.
move in what? Yeah, your need is in order to transform. The wind in this case is a transformative energy. You need some of that, and you need to really look for it. It's not entirely without rage,
Hmm.
out of your rage,
Mm-hmm.
but you're gonna have to work a lot. You have a lot of work ahead of you in order to get the transformative energy you need to put everything that this spread is trying to tell you in motion.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have a lot of hard work in front ahead of you. But that doesn't mean it's hopeless.
Yeah, it's a lot because it's like I'm getting the.
You need to find or get or build some kind of, like ore to like move yourself forward until the wind catches you again.
Yeah, because it's like I'm getting like so many things where it's like there's that need to observe the shifts that are happening, and there is a great amount of opportunity in the self reflection. Um, but then also I'm also seeing it's like there's this. It's like being trapped in my own quagmire, if that's even the right word for it.
In your own head.
Yeah.
Something I've known a lot, something I've seen in you a lot over the time I've known you.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with all the love in my heart.
Yeah, it's like I see it too. It's like I don't want to delay any longer, and yet it's like I can't help but delay in the fear of making the wrong decision, but then forgetting that making no decision is making a decision.
Oh my god.
You're right.
Yeah, I just the the tiny pieces of corn.
Ouch.
Windpipe. Ow. Okay, let's move to your present life itself and the circumstances and the context surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, what the fuck? The Queen of Wands reversed.
Oh boy.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. I believe me. I don't know what's happening. I do not know what's. I am worried now.
Okay, we have a lot of wands and we have a lot of reversals.
So last time we did the North Node, 2022 I got the Three of Swords, and last year I got the Knight of Wands upright. Both of them were upright.
This is the first time we're getting reversals then.
Oy.
Your current life circumstances and context is neglect, unreliability, disinterest, and criticism. Well, to be fair, you have been facing a lot of that from particular people in your life. A project or goal is derailed by a lack of lack of promised support, lack of practicality, disinterest in one's current tasks, a person who criticizes from meanness rather than desire to help, jealousy over the success of others. You've been feeling a lot of that lately?
Oof. Unfortunately, it hit hard, especially the last few weeks, which is kind of. I mean, it's like I know it's absurd, and yet I have been feeling the pressure of not being where I would like to be. It's like I know I'm where I need to be, but not where I want to be.
Oh, God, that hurts. I relate so much, and the cards are not holding back tonight.
No.
That definitely sounds like the way you. That sounds like the context and the circumstances surrounding your current life itself. Then.
Yeah, because like I've been because I mean keeping in mind, like, I mean, I know, completely different field. It's ridiculous, but like, I see the Olympians. They're basically my peers, if not a little bit younger, or people who are my peers, or at least up to my level. They're on the brink of retiring, or they are about to retire. They retire early because, I mean, athleticism, especially at that level, tends to age you pretty quickly. But
Also, Olympians are meant to be Olympians for the rest of their life.
no. And even outside of that, there's this expectation that we need to be like successful by my age, if not a little younger, in order to be considered like that you made it. And there's a lot of people that I follow. They're only slightly younger than me, and yet they're basically where I want to be right now. And it's like I've been going at this for so long that it's getting frustrating. It's like, when is it gonna? It's like I'm getting to the point where it's like, when is it gonna be my turn? And I can tell that I'm just not being. I mean, especially with the way these algorithms are, it's like I'm not being consistent enough for me to even make it up to that level. So it's like, wow, it's like I have to either just buckle down, shush my mouth, and just do it, because that's what everybody else is doing, or move on to something else. Just drop the dream and just move on. Sorry for being harsh, but I mean, like, it showed in the previous parts too. It's just like, it's like a lot of it is kind of, I feel like it's just showing, it's like lack of dedication in terms of action, too much dedication in terms of my mind, my ideas, delusions of grandeur, if you want to call it that.
I wouldn't call it that, but that's because I can relate too much to you from just being self-centered narcissist.
Yeah. Then again, it's like I know my speech internally tends to be very harsh, and I bet a lot of you watching are very familiar with that feeling.
I can relate. You know, I talk about it all the time when we're alone.
Yeah. So, again, this is why I say you often see a person's highlight reel, not what's actually going on.
Or in my case, you see all of my lows.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I try to keep it, well, what we like to call here, we try to keep it inside the house. That way, like, there's some degree of privacy, there is a degree of control, like giving its own space for resolution. And yet, I kind of beg the question, like, how long can you keep it inside the house to the point where it might be getting stale, it might be getting cabin fever?
Also, if you literally keep it in the house, well, not literally, but in the ways a lot of people apply it, that's how we get toxic family situations, because they don't see outside perspective.
Mm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have people, why I personally at least have my village of people who are not my related family. Because I don't want to get stuck in a cycle as bad. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And being in a cycle of a lot of control where I feel like I'm not allowed to speak, it scares me. But it's way off track. Sorry for that. Do we want to look at the south node? We have 2 cards left before we look at the jumper, which is supposed to tie all of this together.
Alright. Let's take a look at this.
We're already up in 2 hours, geesh.
Whew, for those who have stayed on until this point, thank you very much. Means a lot.
What the fuck is you? Oh, okay. The 2 of Pentacles reversed. A dunce cap upside down. Okay, let's see what the pentacles have to tell you today. And when it comes to the pentacles, do not replace the P with a T. Reverse. 8 represents imbalance, overwhelmed, disorganization, and money worries. I mean, your circumstance have definitely been a lot of that over the past year.
Unfortunately, this year too.
Lack of energy or enthusiasm for meeting new challenges. Disorganized finances. Funds may be low, leading to fear and a lack-based mentality. Potential issues with a business or romantic partner over money. Avoid excess spending or imbalanced behavior. Take care of yourself and do what you can to alleviate stress responsibly. I mean, last year you had to quit a job that was really toxic and stressful for you. If I recall correctly, it was last year.
Yeah. And
that also contributed to a lack of certainty when it came to your funding, your funds, your financial needs. Of course, your dad had his health scare, which is also scary.
Yeah.
I think this card actually does call back to a lot that has happened over the past year for you.
And I was actually supposed to move up to a new position this year, but unfortunately, there's been a hiring freeze where I work at. So as a result, we can't move up. So, and I know I need to like do something different, and yet I get so afraid that what happened last year is going to happen again.
Yeah, you get paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we are here for you. This is why you have a village, so we can push you. if not emotionally or mentally, physically.
Mm-hmm.
If I was there, I would physically push you. If I had to. You know I'm not kidding.
I know you're not.
So, taking the past year, your current year, and all of this into consideration, let's see how you can move forward and heal those wounds that you have had over the past year and have had this year. Because there have been wounds. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yep.
Well, drastic action, clearly. The upright 10 of swords.
Oh no.
So, drastic action, clearly.
Oh god.
How are we gonna deal with this?
What's the damage?
End of troubles, finality, relief, peace, and moving on from difficulty. A conflict finally comes to an end, or a nagging problem is solved. There may or may not be a feeling of victory, but the end is welcome regardless. The need to let go of negativity associated with the old struggle and make peace with the outcome. Any needed healing and restoration can now take place. A reminder that endings are needed to make way for new beginnings. How? Nice. 4 swords.
I mean, I did say earlier that, like, you may come away with some scars, but, like, at least, like, the worst of it's over.
And the funny thing is, the 10 of Swords in my fairy tale deck has basically the opposite meaning.
Really?
Yeah. It has a lot to do with it has to do with betrayal.
Yeah, yeah. There's that underlying theme, especially in like the bigger numbers. That like there's a sense of it's like you made it through, but at what cost?
Yeah, and I think if we're gonna take a look at the swords as a very drastic card, needs a lot of action and a lot of decisive action. Considering how to heal in that position and reaching the peace and finality that you crave or that you would want, peace and moving on from difficulty, that part of the life. And funny enough, healing, you need to be decisive and make some hard decisions. Whether that be tied to your Twitch, or it be tied to personal life, whether it be tied to interpersonal relationships. There is a lot to be considered here. And you may need to use those swords. You may need to use every single one of those swords to take those actions. Because if we take a look at the sword, and let's look, and for once, actually look at the card and like interpret the depiction. We're seeing a lot of bold colors. We're seeing the sword sticking up in the ground. It is that piece after the battle, like the Keyblade Graveyard.
Oh yeah, I did think of that when I saw it.
And that to me talks a lot about action, you know? Yes, we have come to the end of where the action is over, but action needed to come before we get to this point. And again, swords are, for me, very drastic. Very dramatic, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it means as well that you need to utilize our friend who is currently away because she used to be a fencer. Maybe she's one of your swords.
Maybe.
And we only have a card left. The jumper that literally jumped out of us. Jumped out right in the beginning. Very near the beginning.
This is where we're going a little off script here, but this may tie everything together. Give us a clue into some of the other ones about why everything's so upside down here.
Literally! Well, this ain't helping.
Oh boy.
We have another reverse card.
No!
We want to be done with them, didn't we?
Apparently I'm not.
The Four of Pentacles reversed.
Oof.
I usually associate upright. I associate this with stability. Funny enough. But let's see, reversed. Materialism, greed, stagnant resources, and limitation. Being overly concerned with the material world, feeling that there is never enough in terms of resources, money, time, etc. Spending extravagantly or unwisely, resenting the success of others. Well, that was mentioned in the previous card. Selfish or miserly attitudes. Remember that a hoarding mentality makes your abundance stagnant. You need to be willing to release the old, make room for the new. Another theme, funny enough, that we've seen in the previous card. A side meaning can indicate a windfall due to external circumstances like an inheritance. Okay, I really hope not.
Yeah, no.
Honestly, that part, I really hope not.
I really hope not.
Because that could only be indicative of one person, and we do not want to be that person.
No.
Not that person. No. I need to meet this person before that happens. If nothing else.
Yeah. But yeah, that part about like release the old, bring in the new to bring in the new. Um,
Yeah, that seems to be the theme overall here.
yeah, this is
Releasing
over.
old patterns, taking in new, making room for new, the new you. That seems, and or if nothing else, rediscover yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make room for new things. The old you combined with new you to rediscover that, rediscover your core, find yourself again, and discarding old habits or teachings or things you've been taught or learned or
Yeah, because I
grown
mean,
onto you. And which is fitting considering the fact that you are in therapy. I think it's very helpful.
yeah, I admit it's been like a financially challenging endeavor. There's that, which like this kind of certainly represented that, and I
Mm-hmm.
maybe I have been a bit um, miserly when it comes to resources because it's just been it's like
Remember what you bought for yourself when you were in England.
yeah.
Pen.
I mean,
A pen.
I also did buy myself a shirt. Granted, it was on sale because one button was lost its threading, which I still had to sew onto it, by the way. But yeah, I tried not to spend too much because like I know my tendency is maybe like overdo it because there's that concern about like not having enough, and then even my parents have been calling out like, hey, you're getting too obsessed over the money. Um, but I mean, unfortunately, in a way, it's not coming from nowhere
We
because
live in a horribly inflated world.
yeah, and I mean, there were times where I thought I was not going to have enough to even get through my education. I thought several times I was going to drop out due to financial reasons,
Mm.
and I have to go straight to the workforce, even knowing my
Would not
qualifications to be
be
incomplete.
okay. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Holy shit! You know.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Oh. Yeah. Need to move the camera. Finally, I can move my camera back to where it's supposed to be. Top of my screen. There we go.
All right, let's get you back on
Holy shit! That's
here.
2.5 hours, and that's actually short considering how these usually take 3 hours or more.
Yeah, they do. This one does take a while, but yeah, we somehow managed to get through it. 2.5 hours of content. So that's yo, everybody.
Actually, 2 hours considering the fact we had like a half-hour opening.
That is true. That is very true. We did have that and then a few explanations as to what was going on. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, this was great. Definitely take a rest after this, yo, because you deserve it and you need it because that's a lot of energy just to even do this kind of reading. But yeah, like they're
Also
very.
5 a.m.
But I mean, these are very thorough. Like I've been trying to like share this as much as I can because it's a long but it's very thorough reading, and I feel like it's really showing some of the patterns that I have been holding in for quite a while. The things that like even like I know it, but then it's like it's nice to articulate it too. You know.
Yeah. or be reminded.
Absolutely. Whew. So it is a very challenging reading, but I feel like it also just really told me like there's still potential for a lot of growth and a lot of good things to come my way, and more importantly, to just remember to keep the faith, to just keep trying, and
Mm-hmm.
well, I think it's just ultimately just the classic 3-5 human design thing where it's like I just have to just do trial and error. It's basically calling me to like do trial and error. Don't go for
The safe.
the safe guaranteed path, because for all I know, that safe guaranteed path might not be the thing that works.
Because we have, and nothing to remember as well. Safe guaranteed path wasn't built for people like us either.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah, because I mean,
And I say that it may not show. Sorry, it may not show very well considering I'm using an avatar, but I'm not white.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot like like a lot of people who would go for some of the things that we have done in our lives.
You cut out, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry, you're good. You're fine. But I mean, there's not a lot of people have that have lived the lives that we led, and I think that's why I often
Mm-hmm.
emphasize, especially now, like that once again, like the 30s are. I mean, they're older than our 20s, but like they're still young in the grand scheme of things. There's still things that we have yet to learn of ourselves. If not that, then how the world works, because what we read in our books sometimes might not fit exactly what's actually going on. Oftentimes, like what we hear and see in the books are things that, for all we know, have already passed. Like
Mm-hmm.
that precedent's already gone. So, if anything,
It's also really annoying to be a cusp generation.
mm, so if
Cusp.
anything, yeah,
Sorry.
you're good. You're good. I thought you were going to say something.
I'm just waiting for you to finish because I know I interrupted you.
Oh no. Okay, so I mean, that's why I feel like if anything, it's important that we use our creativity and our drive to make the world better a lot more. To use it a lot more, because we've set like there's some parts of our world where we settled on precedent for far too long, because there are some things where the precedent is already passed, or it hasn't even been made yet because it's a new frontier. Like, look at what's happening with AI. It's a new frontier we're currently experiencing, and I think especially I know it's getting to that hour with the fact that like I'm struggling to think of my words very well. I guess this is where Mercury retrograde is really kicking in for me at this point. But then again, I also woke up
It
pretty early this morning, so there was that. But
is early morning here.
but yeah, I think ultimately just not restricting yourself in terms of what you'd like to do, or what you feel you're meant to do. Like, it's okay to just open up, like, try something new and see what happens.
It's okay to go against the grain.
Exactly. In simpler terms, yes.
Even if it's not the safest route, not always, and most oftentimes not the safest route.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, they often say, like, well-behaved women really make history. In this case, those who stay on the lines rarely make the innovations that we need to make. Of course, there is a little bit of reason that we have to use to make sure we don't hurt anyone, because, as Jeff Goldblum famously said in Jurassic Park, just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Yeah. Science always skirts that goddamn line. At least in sci-fi.
Yeah, in sci-fi especially, it's pretty common. Like, that sentiment's pretty common.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, oftentimes
Like,
whenever I
just
think
don't
of,
count themselves.
because oftentimes I often think about a lot of sci-fi whenever I look at these things that are happening, and even, like, I mean, if you want to go for a more grounded example, I mean, we basically have the equivalent of gladiator games in our fiction, namely Hunger Games and Squid Game. The last thing we want to do is replicate that.
How about no? Like,
How about
please
no?
don't do that.
Like, if you think of replicating that, you're missing the point. I'm sorry, but you're missing the point.
You're missing the point of the movie. It's like, please no.
Please no. If you're even thinking that, you know who you are. You know who you are. I'm not gonna name names. I've name dropped a few things a little bit earlier in the show, but this is the one time I'm not gonna name drop.
Name and shame.
Yeah, because you know who you are. And it's all over the internet right now, so, like... Just saying. Just saying.
Just saying.
I usually don't step into that realm. I let the experts do it, but this is the one time I got a comment like,
No.
You're supposed to fight against the dark side, not indulge in it.
No, don't join it.
Don't join it. Like, the only dark side you should even think of.
Cupcakes.
Yeah, the only dark side you even think of joining is, like, if you're eating a cookie or a brownie or something like that. That's the only time. Otherwise, no.
Come to the dark side. We have
Cookies.
cupcakes.
Oh man. Yeah, thank you so much, Yo, again for this. This was really a lot of fun and very informative. And if anybody is going through a similar challenge, rest assured it does get better and you'll get through it. You got this.
I'm very happy to have been part of this stream. I'm very happy to have been here, to be hanging out with you. I am so thankful you agreed to have me on here. I'm honestly hoping we can do this again sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to, and hopefully we get a lot less reverse cards by the time we get through.
Maybe we should do a stream like this on my birthday.
Yes, yeah, we could totally do that. Let's do that.
Because mine is coming up now in August as well.
Yeah, plus I've been overdue to do yours anyway, so I think it's time that I did that.
I mean, okay, here, just to me be a little bit of a selfish prick again, just for a moment. I mentioned cusps earlier.
Yes.
I'm born on the cusp between Millennial and Gen Z, so as Zillennial, because I'm born in 1995, middle of the 90s. And not only that, as I mentioned before, my stars were drunk and or high when I was born. Because I was also born as a Leo Virgo cusp on August 23rd. And yeah, cusp upon cusp, this is cuspception, and I don't like it.
Wow.
How about no? That meme is never going to go anywhere.
Uh, but yeah, so I think I'm gonna end it here. But thank you so much again for doing this. This is so much fun. And so I should be getting back to streaming pretty soon. Now that I feel like, now that I've been through the Nanoka Special, I think it should start getting things back on track. So Friday, assuming that nothing else is going on, knock on wood, we'll be back with Sonic Mania Plus. I'm sure, especially my nephews, will be looking forward to that one because they've been watching me play it um, for a week while I was at their place. The other games, now I'm kind of debating now at this point. Like, should I just jump in maybe I should just jump in anyway. But the big thing is, please support the VG actors strike. If you want to support them financially, use just a few pennies. Please feel free to donate to the Entertainment Community Fund at entertainmentcommunity.org. I have a coffee shop as well, so um, if you want to just donate, or if you want to like get a reading just like what you just saw, but I work a little bit differently, feel free to go to coffee.com/Tonders. And get involved with your local government. This is an election year, at least here in the States. I don't know about like how many other places. I know there's some places right now it's an election year, so for the love of all that's holy, please vote. Please make sure you're registered to vote. Please get involved, and just make sure our world doesn't fall apart, please.
Yeah. Yes, like please, we would like to have the world stay intact, please.
Yeah.
Also, on a funny side note, just before we end,
Yes.
is it coffee, or Kofi, or Ko-Fi?
I thought coffee because there was a coffee mug in the logo.
I always thought it was Kofi, or Ko-Fi. Like, it's either or, because I don't read it as, I know it's supposed to be, I know it's a coffee mug, but I always read it as like Kofi.
Because I mean, it's also like there's like a sister site called Buy Me a Coffee where it's a bit more straightforward.
Yeah, I know. I thought that was Kofi.
I thought it was coffee, but I guess not. I'll have to look up the official meaning now. But yeah, I've got a page, so if you want to check it out, please do. And here's the stuff where you can find me outside of this channel. I pretty much have. I've pretty much all but stopped posting on TikTok. I still go on there from time to time, but unfortunately, the ban has not been the potential for a ban has not been reversed in the U.S. So I have not really gone on, let alone posted anything. I may start pulling things into the YouTube Shorts category, depending on how I feel. But the probably is pretty good. TikTok will probably be lost to obscurity, at least for me, until like either the ban's reversed or something changes, or both. But I think it's probably the beginning of the end of that. But if you still want to watch some of the stuff on there, it's all there. It's not going anywhere. Of course, I have Twitch. I have Discord. The link to the servers in the description of my YouTube channel. I also have a second YouTube channel and a Vimeo called Theological Otaku. I am thinking of actually doing a filmed video, heavily inspired by Skylife's video about her turning 30. Granted, I'm a couple years into mine now, but I feel like, if anything, this is a great time for me to like really share some of that wisdom I've had now that I'm in the thick of my 30s right now, so I feel more comfortable sharing what's been going on. If you're interested in like Spotify playlists, I have playlists on DJ MK for Life on Spotify. I occasionally post on Twitter, or at least the site formerly known as Twitter, now called X. But again,
we will never call it X.
Yeah, they still say X, formerly known as Twitter, on the site. So it should speak for itself that like it's not catching on at all. But yeah, I did post a little bit recently on there for the unfortunate passing of John Pepe, who, if you're a big cinematic buff, she played Jade Fox in Crouch Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and she's been like a huge Hong Kong cinema icon. So rest in peace to her, and thank you so much for contributing to all the badass women that we've seen in Hong Kong cinema and just martial arts films in general. I have an old blog, haven't updated it in a hot minute, but it's mahokunoichi.blogspot.com. And again, feel free to donate to my page. I also have a card reading shop. I did pause on Fiverr due to like it was a little too slow in traffic, and it was also supporting the conflict, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. So I took a pause on that, and that has it was not too hard for me to make that decision because there was no traffic coming into that spot. So go to my coffee shop if you want to like support me there. And finally, I know this is a very long outro. This episode was filmed in the lands of the Lenape and the Nanticoke peoples, as well as I know this is more up north for you, but also maybe technically the Sami as well. But if you want to learn more, visit native-land.ca, native-land.ca, whatever you call it. Anyway.
And the Sami are from way further up north.
This is like.
But then again, it's hard to track their movements.
For all we know, there must have been more that we just don't know. It's still getting updated. So if you happen to be indigenous to a certain place, or location, especially in terms of like us Africans, although we don't really use the term indigenous, and like some parts of Europe, and especially Asia, please contact the creators of the site. I think they'll be especially grateful for the supplementation of that information because it is sorely lacking in those areas. So we definitely need that information. Thank you so much for watching. Hope everybody has an awesome summer. Happy birthday to my fellow Leos. Michael Shannon apparently has a birthday today. I think he's 50 this year, so happy birthday to him. Great actor. He played General Zod in Man of Steel. And as always, of course, and please, SAG, do not hate me for this because it's my usual outro before this happened. May your heart be your guiding key. Did you want to say something, before we ended?
Yeah, my outro
yes
is may you forever walk in the light of the crystal. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. See you next time.